Hello, I'm Sarah Long, Director of the North Suburban Library System, and your host for What's New in Libraries. We'll visit the first ever library Videopalooza. Art is very popular in libraries. We'll visit the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, the Skokie Public Library, and the Antioch Public Library to learn why. So stay with us. We're at the Arlington Heights Memorial Library, and I'm talking to Lynn Stainbrook, who's the executive librarian. Lynn, I wanted to talk about art in the library today. Do you have an opinion on that?
I certainly do. Well, Arlington Heights is very fortunate because we have a lovely, lovely collection of permanent art in the building, which really just enhances the building, the beauty of the building, the attractiveness. We're very, very lucky to be here, and I think the community's lucky. It's had a lot of support from the Friends of the Library. We have a lot of local artists who have donated work as well, and some that we've commissioned their work. Some sculpture pieces outside the building, some sculpture pieces inside the building, a large mural that indicates the history of Arlington Heights. And I think all of those things really help people when they come to the library to find an attractive, peaceful, lovely place to be in, but also sort of delights the eye. I do think that public buildings should have art, and they should be places that sort of delight the eye and that people want to come to and want to be there. And it's very lucky that we have one like this. I do think that there's something about art that makes people feel better. There's beauty in the world, and when you stop and you look at it, you feel more beauty inside yourself.
All right, you've made a good case, and you've talked a lot about buildings artistically being attractive themselves and sort of permanent collections. What about exhibitions? Is there room for that in the library?
Absolutely. I think that libraries have often been known as sort of the marketplace of ideas, where you can come and you can find all kinds of books or DVDs, videos, magazines, and get all kinds of ideas in libraries. Well, certainly having exhibits that come to a library maybe for a month or 3 months is another way of having those ideas expressed. We have had temporary exhibits in our gallery of art pieces, and one of the most popular is when the high school students and the elementary school kids put all their pieces in, and those are fabulous to look at. I do think that every time that you can bring in something new, even if it's just for a temporary time period, you offer something additional to your community.
We're at the Skokie Public Library, and I'm talking to Sid Weiskirk and Carolyn Anthony. Carolyn is the director of the library here, and Sid is a collector
of comics. Prince Valiant, Hal Foster's artwork.
And so, why did you decide to collect Hal Foster?
Well, during my early years, he was always the star. I was an amateur cartoonist, and he was the finest of them all, and I collected his work, and I copied a lot of his work, too, in my own work.
Now, did you grow up in Chicago?
Yes.
And Hal Foster did, too.
Yeah, he grew up in Evanston and the North Shore and up in this area here, and we always felt a close contact with him.
Well, he was sort of the primogeniture, wasn't he?
He was.
And Tarzan was sort of the first big hero.
Tarzan was the first superhero. And what happened was when they put Tarzan, it's a long story about how they started it, but when they put a superhero in the Sunday comics had nothing but children's, very small pictures like Felix the Cat, Crazy Cat, things like that.
No adult.
No adult. And the idea was to put an adventure strip well drawn into the Sunday comics, hopefully to get adult readers so they could sell advertisements into the newspapers. That was the basis, to sell ads.
Now, when was this?
This was in 1929 and 30. Everybody started reading Tarzan, and they were able to sell ads in the newspapers. And when they did that, the editors saw a good thing. They were going bankrupt anyway, and they couldn't sell ads anywhere, so they started selling.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden they put out the word, we want more superheroes. Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers started it all. And all of these things developed all from Hal Foster. After all of this started, and it just kept mushrooming and got bigger and bigger. Mandrake the Magician and the Phantom, and then comic books came from all this.
But you know, when you think about it, you can even follow a line right through
Sure.
and look at graphic novels today.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And see, we wouldn't have those, I don't think,
Exactly.
if we hadn't had this to
The
start
Hal
with.
Foster.
It all
And not to
came
mention, but even the cartoons like Doonesbury and whatever.
Sure.
You know, there's so much that really owes its origins to this kind of artwork and this kind of thinking.
Yes.
About ways of presenting. The whole idea of having cartoon images for adults, you know, that was a real innovation.
A real breakthrough.
Yes.
What's in this exhibit?
This exhibit starts out with the very beginning of when it was, the Tree Studios in Chicago is a location that's still there right now on State
yes. Oh, yes.
and Ontario. And that's where they cooked up this idea.
Is this sort of a chronological view of Hal Foster's work?
That's exactly what it is. It
And
starts
it
out.
continues. There are a number of separate panels here, as it were.
Yes, correct. There's 7 different sections when they first started out, where he worked in Chicago. He had to come to Chicago from Canada because there was a depression up there, couldn't find a job. And he came to Chicago and he worked in a commercial advertising agency for many years. And then it shows some of the pictures that he did there. He did a lot of very fine work with Popular Mechanics and all kinds of different commercial art.
Obviously very versatile. When I was a child going to the library, comics were not there. So, Madam Director, why are you having these comic things in the library?
Well, aside from the historical significance,
Yes.
which I've mentioned to you, we really believe now that it's good to get people into reading, no matter what, you know. Tastes broaden and develop, and it's all a part of, we can learn from this as well, and perhaps move on to other things, perhaps get into art, perhaps in illustration. I think one of the things that we're hearing is how sophisticated this work
Yes,
is, that
yes.
it's not as simple as one might think at first glance. Just calling it comic is a little dismissive, you know. Maybe we should say just a bit about how the exhibit came together.
Oh, good.
Because when Sid Weiskirch approached our staff about putting together this exhibit, he had done a smaller exhibit at the Noyes Cultural Center, very small panels that are more like book illustration size. And we had this idea, well, we have such large walls, these might just disappear, what should we do? Well, fortunately, we have a staff person, Abby Dar, who is really good with Photoshop, and
She really is.
she worked on this, and she scanned the images, she enlarged them, we printed them out and laminated them, and so it made it a really striking exhibit, I
And
think.
something that would carry in a large space.
That's right, and that can move. It's sturdy enough; it can move to other locations and be shown. So,
Sure.
This
in
is a
sense,
partnership.
we've become curatorial.
Yes, you have. You have.
Curatorial, I haven't used that word in a long time.
What about exhibits in the library?
Well, we like to present all kinds of art in the library. We have sculpture here sometimes, we have paintings, we've got dimensional fabric, all kinds of different things. And, it's interesting to hear artists because they say they really like this. They call it, an unusual venue or whatever, because not everybody goes out of their way to go to gallery exhibits.
yes.
And so some artists might never be seen
Yes.
if they weren't featured in locations such as this. But we have 65,000 people a month who come through here and who will see the art, and you just never know how it's going to strike people.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's true for this exhibit as well, that it puts this material in front of an audience that might not gravitate naturally.
There's also 2 other objectives that I have anyway. Number one, the Herald American went out of business in Chicago about 40 years ago. That's why Chicagoans have no idea who Hal Foster was. And we'd like to see Prince Valiant come back into a Chicago paper. So we always encourage everybody to write to the Tribune and write to the Sun-Times to see if we could get that in.
Hey, you could try the
Lobbying.
Daily Herald.
Yeah, the Daily Herald. I hadn't
the
tried
third
that one.
largest circulating newspaper in Illinois.
Really? Well, that's a good one. That was one objective. The other one is that although there are, according to the King Features website, there are 44 million Prince Valiant fans
Really?
worldwide. There is not a single picture of Hal Foster's or any plaque telling what he did in a Chicago museum.
Really?
And that's what annoyed me.
Well, it's really nice talking to you, and I think this is a great exhibit, and I predict it'll be visiting other libraries as
It
well.
will.
We're at the Antioch Public Library, and this is a very festive, wonderful day. It's a reception for artist Dennis Downs, and here he is in person.
How you doing?
How are you?
Good.
And let me introduce Kathy Labuda, who's the director of the Antioch Public Library. So are you at ease now?
Yes.
And Mr. Downs, your work is very impressive.
Thank you.
And you're making a gift to the library, are you?
Of a painting called Return to Sedona
It's beautiful.
in a handmade bird's eye maple frame, as well as a bronze of the Indian trail marker tree sculpture.
Yes, I know that sculpture. It stands at the entrance to the Lake County Discovery Museum,
Yes, it does.
which is also a member of the North Suburban Library System.
That's good.
Yeah, right.
I'm proud to have the work in the library. I
Yes.
believe in libraries and I use libraries.
Well, I know you do, because here you are in this show of your work and this wonderful gift. I want to ask you, though, how did you get to be such a Renaissance artist? You work in so many different media.
I was lucky enough to have good teachers when I was young, and they never tried to pigeonhole us. So we got experiences working with bronze, working with clay, working with oils. And you should do what you feel you
Sure.
should do. You shouldn't just say, I can only do one thing. I mean, Remington didn't think that way. Most painters actually did sculpting. People don't
Really?
know about it as much as they should. So it's nothing new. I just feel you should do what you feel comfortable doing. And I feel comfortable doing both, so.
And so, do you live in Antioch?
Yes, I've been a resident here for 30 years, and we've had a family residence here since 1920 on Cedar Island. So I feel pretty tied to the community,
yeah.
and I like the community. It's a beautiful place.
Well, and obviously your commitment to libraries is showing.
If you can't go check on research, it gets a little more complicated. So having and the books on tape, because I do a lot of travel,
Yes,
and without having some of those books to get me back and forth from British Columbia or the Rocky Mountains
That's a long ride.
would have been more difficult.
yeah. So I want to pursue that a minute. But Kathy, I want to ask you, what are you going to do with this gorgeous painting? It deserves a really fantastic spot.
Well, we have a beautiful brick wall by the stairway that goes down to this level,
That's right at the front, right?
right at the front of the building, and we're going to hang this on the brick right there as people can see it as they come into the building.
And it's bright against the dark background.
Yes.
A good spot. And how about the trail marker tree?
The trail marker tree will again be way in the front of the entrance to the library. We have a large tree there where people can put memorials to their friends and donate money to the library. And there's a corner there, so on the other side of the corner of the wall, we're going to fasten this tree to the ground. And it will point the way into the library.
That's very good. I love this painting. It is so, I don't know, I've only been to Arizona a couple of times, but it's so evocative of the area. And I read from the little card at the top that this is a composite of your several trips to Arizona. But exactly what was your inspiration?
Well, you have to remember there's two things that I do. I do research and I do landscape. So what I wanted for the library was to have a representation of both things that I do, putting a little thought into
Sure.
it. So the painting obviously is strictly my feelings about Arizona and the
Yes,
landscape
yes.
aspect when you're there studying petroglyphs or cave areas. So basically this is the inspiration by landscape, and the trail marker tree is to show the other aspect of your homework and research of the Native Americans of the Great Lakes region.
And
So I wanted each
that
one to
research
be here.
you've been doing for many years, right?
Yes, very last 3 decades in earnest. I was informed about the trail marker trees when I was 12. I could never get it out of my head.
Really?
I've been to 22 states, probably on over 50 different trips,
Okay.
camping, walking through the snow and ice, bringing Brian Buchholz, arborist from Illinois, who works for the Forest Preserve Department, and his wife's a horticulturist. I've involved them for more expertise as far as the types of trees, because you don't want to document things that are incorrect. That's the worst thing you can do. So it's been quite an adventure, and when we're in those areas, we visit historical societies to see if we can find information about the trees from them and their libraries. So we never get too far from the libraries or the historical societies.
It doesn't sound like it's over.
No, no.
This is life's work.
Yes. There's no time limit, no bells ringing.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm very happy doing it.
Judy, what are you doing? I'm listening to an audiobook I downloaded from my media wall. It's Dave Barry. He's so funny.
Dave Barry? I'm trying to listen to Dave Barry.
Really? Nothing personal with the tapes and the tape player? Looks to me like you're listening to a horror book. Anna, you have to check into my media mall. Do you have a library card?
Oh, sure.
All you have to do is go to mymediamall.net on your home computer, look to see if your library's participating, and then you go in, look for the audiobooks. There's hundreds. There's ebooks that you read on your computer and video. See what you want, follow the easy directions, and download it. And you can do it anytime, night or day. I know you're a night person. In your pajamas, 24/7.
That sounds really cool. Thanks for telling me about this, Judy. How do I do it?
Take out your library card, go to mymediamall.net, see if your library's participating, and if they're not, ask them to. And then just follow the easy directions and download your book.
That sounds really cool. My Media Mall and on air on the way.
Have fun!
This is the first ever Videopalooza, and wow, is it an exciting day. And you know what? The start time only was 10 minutes ago. There's more to come. We have 7 different stations, all with experienced people telling about what they used, how they used film to really promote their library. We have pizza coming in a little bit. Pizza always helps. And a lot of ideas percolating around of different ways to use film to promote the library. This is a great occasion. We think it's the first ever Videopalooza. I'm talking to Carolyn Anthony, who's the Executive Director of the Skokie Public Library, and on the board of the studio.
Yes.
And glad to have you here today.
Wonderful to be here, Sarah.
And so what's the purpose of Videopalooza?
Well, the purpose of Videopalooza is to show all of the NSLS community what we have to offer and the exciting things that you can do with video now. You know, I think that with people seeing YouTube and how exciting that is, and more people realize just how visually oriented people are and what excitement can be generated by a little piece of video footage. And so what we're showing people here are examples of wonderful things that libraries have done using video. It's just such a flexible medium and a great way to reach your public.
So does your library use video?
Oh yes, very much so.
How?
Well, we tape a number of the programs that go on at the library. We have a flat screen near the circulation desk that's constantly showing the library cable network channel 24. So we have that going all the time, and many people comment. We definitely hear from people when the channel is down and not working properly.
So as one of the owners of the studio, you're pleased with the day's turnout?
Very pleased. You can just feel the buzz in the room, and I think that's exciting. What's really exciting is this format, giving people the opportunity to just talk with each other, because I think that's how creativity is kind of stirred and ideas are generated, and one idea leads to another, and that's just what we want to have happen.
Yeah. Well, and the day's young.
Yes, that's right. Thanks, Sarah.
Nice to talk to you, Carolyn. I'm talking to Laurel Valchek, who's the head of adult services at the Vernon Area Public Library. So, Laurel, welcome to Videopalooza.
Thank you.
What brings you to this occasion?
Well, we're really interested in getting some video on our library's website. I've seen what Arlington Heights Library has done, and I think it's fabulous. And I'm kind of interested in us having like some little fiction corners on the website, you know, with the latest in romance books or oldies but goodies that staff can talk about. I see a real need for people to know what there is to read besides bestsellers.
Yes.
And I'm always looking for ways that we can promote other books to people.
That's great. And I don't think anybody has done that in our little community here. So that would be a great addition to our catalog.
Well,
of how to use
I hope
film.
it comes off.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you here, and have a good time. And there's pizza at 11:30.
Great. It looks great. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm talking to Lynn Stainbrook, who's the Executive Director of the Arlington Heights Memorial Library. And Lynn, you're here in various capacities.
I am, and it's so exciting. We can barely hear each other because of the noise behind us of all the people that are here at our Videopalooza. I'm here actually as part of the Library Production Studio, one of the member libraries and a member of that board of directors, but also because of the Arlington Heights Memorial Library project using Library Production Studio and our live vlogs and helping to explain that to people.
Well, now tell us, what is a vlog?
A vlog is a video piece on the website and talking a little bit. It can be almost anything, but they're usually fairly short, to maybe 60 seconds to 7 minutes, and can be a variety of things. For us, we use it as what's happening at the library this next week. Here's a sampling of a program event that we've had. Here's a behind-the-scenes look at what's happening in technical services, those kinds of things that help to inform the public a little bit more about the library.
I'm talking to Lisa Barnhart, who's an independent consultant and works with libraries. Is that right?
That's correct.
Now, let me ask you this. Are you a real librarian?
Yes, I am actually.
You have an MLS and everything?
I do, from a place though that is no longer has a library science program, so I don't know if it counts.
No, I've got one of those too.
Okay, good.
So it counts.
Yeah, good.
And so you're here at Videopalooza. What made you come?
Well, actually, I'm involved in a project called Web Junction, Illinois,
Say it again?
Web Junction, Illinois. We're looking to create a site for library staff in the state of Illinois. And one of the things we're looking at is trying to do something with video on the site to pull people in, like a video blog or something that would interest them because of all the YouTube stuff that's going on. So it's kind of trying to get some ideas for how we can do that. So.
Oh, that's great. Well, we have 7 different stations here and different ways that libraries have used filming to really promote the library. And you've got to see the Arlington Heights vlogs, because that's probably the sort of thing that you would want to emulate.
Oh, that's good.
But you know, there's a myriad of ways to use film, and I'm sure you'll think of them.
Oh, I'm sure I will eventually.
Yeah. Well, we're really glad you came. There'll be pizza in a little bit.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Nice to have you with us, Lisa.
Thanks, Sarah.
I'm talking to Sandra Norland, who's the Executive Director of the Des Plaines Public Library. And Sandra, you're one of the owners, as it were, of the, what are we calling it these days?
We're calling it the Library Production Studio.
And this is what? What is the Library Production Studio?
It's really an expansion of the original library cable network, which was, and still is, a consortium of libraries that film library programs and then broadcast them over a cable channel.
And so the Library Production Studio, or studio for short, has persons who operate cameras and know how to edit and things like that?
The beautiful part about Library Production Studio is that we've got all the expertise in filming, all the technical knowledge that we need, but we're people who know libraries as well.
Yeah.
So any library that needs film of any event, whether it's going to be broadcast on cable, as ours is, or shown at a public forum, or shown on the website.
So in this digital age, there are lots of new ways to use film, right?
Yes.
And so what is your library's experience?
Something that's worked, that's been very helpful, and who knew, is that we have been filming our library board meetings.
Oh, really?
And that's what I said, who knew?
Yeah, exactly.
People tell our library board trustees all the time that they watch them on TV, and they're very impressed.
Really?
They really are impressed with the level
People
of...
watch a library board meeting
That's
on
right.
TV.
They do. Well, I think it's the C-SPAN phenomenon.
I think you're right.
Where you
I
think
think
that
you're right.
people feel like they're there when something exciting is happening. The studio now is offering that kind of service to all libraries, whether they are full members of the network or not.
And so there's a fee for this, right?
Yes.
But I understood, you know, from Hollywood and so on, that filming was really expensive.
It's very expensive when you go to an organization or a business that, you know, a for-profit business, but we're a not-for-profit organization, and our whole reason for being is to promote libraries and to make libraries, bring libraries into people's homes and to get people excited about using libraries.
So this is Videopalooza, and you are?
Ralph Rydholm from Executive Service Corps, and we've done some consulting with Library Cable Network.
So
and,
you know something about this place?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. You studied it, in fact.
Well, yeah.
And, so,
and gave some suggestions.
And so was this one of your suggestions?
Well, not specifically Videopalooza or Bill wearing black tie, but I love it.
Yeah.
But, well, we did talk with them about the expansion into more production services.
Right.
And that seems to be quite popular from looking around here today.
Yeah, I think so. I'm talking to Dr. William McCulley, who's the executive director of the Prospect Heights Public Library. But Bill, you have a different role today.
Yes, Sarah, I'm also the president of the Library Production Studio. So we're sponsoring the Videopalooza today, and we're really pleased with the turnout. I think it gives everybody a good chance to see all the different projects and products that Library Production Studio can do for them in their local library.
So how many people came today, do you reckon?
Well, I think we had over 60 pre-registered, and we had some sign up who had not pre-registered, and then of course all of us who are here working. So I think we are pretty close to 90 people today.
That's great. That's really wonderful. And did you hear any new ideas?
Well, I've heard a lot of people as they were checking in say, as I reminded them to talk to Josh and Mike, say, yes, we have a plan in mind that we want to talk to them about. So I'm getting the impression that people are coming in with ideas and they want to refine them by talking with Josh and Mike, and they also want to learn about what other libraries have done.
Sure.
I've also heard a lot of comments like about the Arlington vlog and what a good idea that is, and people being very impressed that they were able to get a nice grant to do that.
Yeah.
So, you know, there have been a lot of positive comments.
Yes, that's very heartening, I think.
Yes, I think it's really good, and it's good to see that the library community is recognizing the importance of visual orientation these days.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us are noticing in our circulation statistics that AV materials are accounting for up to 60% in some cases of our circulation. So it's clear that the population is interested in the visual aspect of what we're doing. And that's something that Library Production Studio can really help libraries do, is get out in their community with a visual presence.
Judy, I am really stumped.
Doing your daughter's homework again?
Yes, I'm just trying to help her find good sources. She has to find out how the hot springs in Arkansas were formed. And we've looked at books, but they tend to cover the touristy stuff. And Google has so much information, and I'm not really sure what's reliable. I just don't know where to go for answers. Oh, maybe this 8-ball could help. Don't count on it. Oh, that's not the answer I was looking for.
Anna, don't count on the ball for your information. Look to the box. Info in a box.
Info in a box? What the heck is that?
It's a great new website put together by area libraries, giving you information at your fingertips that you can count on.
So my local library is providing me with expert information, like encyclopedia articles and scholarly publications and articles?
Yep, at infoinabox.com. It's all there at your fingertips. And even with just one search, you can probably find what you're looking for. That's all you need. Free of charge.
I love free.
I knew you did. And available anytime and anywhere you can get online.
That's great. I'm going to tell my daughter about this right now. Info in a box has made my life easier. Can I borrow this 8-ball for some personal questions I have?
Thanks for watching today. And be sure to visit your library either in person or online and find out what's new. And while you're there, visit my website. It's www.sarahlong.org.